How you guys doing today? Everybody good? You guys seem like we talking a lot, so we excited, we good? Everybody's having a good time? All right. I want to welcome you all to Purdue's Giant Leap series. I'm very excited to be here with you all today. My name is Aaron Banks. I'm a senior at Purdue. I'm studying industrial engineering. Was a four-year quarterback at Purdue, and also this past year was the student body president. This unique event, marking Purdue's 150th anniversary, celebrates giant leaps resulting from daring intellectual risk-taking of the past, present, and future at Purdue and around the world. Today, we welcome Justin Shaifer, who is the founder and executive director of Fascinate Inc., an organization created to inspire and excite underrepresented students about STEM. He develops culturally responsive STEM curriculum for institutions in New York City. He is known for his work on the Magic Cool Bus and Hood Science, the animated series. Past partnerships of his include Microsoft, Google, MIT Media Lab, and the Children's Aid Society. And he is studying these programs' effects as a PhD student at Columbia University. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Justin Shaifer.
Appreciate you, sir. What's going on, folks? How we doing today? Okay, all right. The energy level in here needs to be a little bit higher for you guys to be in a position to receive my message, all right? So what's going on, folks? How we doing today? Good, that's what I'm talking about. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mr. Fascinate, for all intents and purposes. Y'all can call me that today, all right? Everybody say, Mr. Fascinate. Cool, and today, I'm gonna show you guys why STEM is dope, okay? How many of you guys know what STEM means? You guys know what STEM means, right? STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, okay? And it is a super cool thing that's a part of everything in our world today. You guys know who that is, right? That's Iron Man, right? How many of you guys saw the Avengers already? Okay. All right, y'all, listen up. So in order for me to give you guys a message today, I need you guys to be high energy, but when I'm talking, I need you guys to respect me on the mic, okay? You guys can respect the mic, right? I appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Yes, Iron Man is a part of why STEM is dope, right? But there's another couple reasons why STEM is dope that I think are gonna change you guys' lives. And I'm gonna talk about my story and how STEM changed my life in a couple of minutes. But first, I want you guys to guess which one of these cups has water in a second. Now I need a volunteer. Anyone? Someone? Yes, right in the front. Okay. So first things first, everybody give us a round of applause for our volunteer. What's your name, boss?
My name's Advice.
Advice. Give him a round of applause. Okay, great. So here's what he's gonna do. He's gonna be our resident scientist. Today he's gonna make sure that the substance in this bottle, and he's gonna verify with a couple of you guys, is water. Now I want you to use the swagnifying glass, all right, because this isn't any kind of magnifying glass, this is a swaggy magnifying glass. I want you to use this magnifying glass to verify this substance is water. Now you can taste it if you want to, you can open it up, but I want you to share it with a couple people in the crowd too, and make sure they think it's water too, all right? Oh, what do you think?
It tastes like water.
Tastes like water. Tastes like water.
It also looks like water.
It looks like water.
It smells like water, which means it doesn't smell like anything.
It smells like water, which means it smells like nothing. Great. Does anyone else want to test the water? Do you want to use the swagnifying glass to make sure that you can see? Yes, it's wet because water is wet. Water is wet.
We don't like to get into controversial topics here at PPHS. Dude, thank you.
So we verified that it's water. Thank you so much. Can you have a seat? Oh, and you want some Bluetooth headphones? You want some Bluetooth headphones? Yeah, man, here, take them. So if you guys are paying attention, if you guys are paying attention, you guys might be eligible for a couple more prizes, all right? So make sure you guys are paying attention and quiet. Make sure you guys are paying attention and quiet throughout the course of this, okay? So I'm gonna pour this water. This is verified water, right? I'm gonna pour this water in, and I want you guys to tell me which cup has water in it, okay? Now, we're gonna do a little bit of mismatching here, and we're gonna see. All right, which one has water in it? Which one? The third one, this one? This one? Okay. You guys are too good. Hold on. Okay, which one has water in it now? Which one now? This one? Okay. All right, so it's not this one. All right, so I can pour this on my head, right? So this one? Okay. All right, this one? This one? This one's the one with the water in it, right? So if I pour this on my head, I'm gonna get soaked. Right? Which one has the water in it? Which one has the water in it? I thought you guys said it was this one. Which one has the water in it? Oh, you guys see it? Okay. So, does anyone know what happened? Does anyone know what happened? Yes. Can you speak up a little bit? A hole in the cup and a hole in the table. I don't know. I don't see any holes in the table. Okay, anyone else? Yes. A sponge at the bottom of the cup. That's a good guess. Anyone else? Yes. What did you say? Something in the bottom of the cup to cause the water to solidify. Dang, that was a good guess, man. So, I have a confession for you guys. That wasn't magic, it was science. There was something in the bottom of the cup that caused the water to solidify. It was a super absorbent polymer. You guys know what salt is. You guys know what salt does to water, right? What does salt do to water? It dries it out, right? It makes it dry. When you eat something really salty, you want to drink water, right? Because you're dehydrated, right? This is a salt on steroids. Not literally. This is just a really strong salt, okay? Now you guys can pass this around and play with it. Don't eat it. It's not toxic, but just don't eat it. You guys can pass this around, all right? So check this out. Everybody listen up. Here's the thing. When you know science, when you know STEM, there are things that you'll be capable of doing that people will think are straight up magic tricks. People will be mind blown by your ability to make them happen. I'm gonna tell you guys about how in my life, I did stuff that people would never be able to believe, right? So right now, I speak all over the world. I've done TED Talks, I've done graduation speeches, I've done events with Microsoft, I've led marches with thousands of people talking about why STEM is cool, why science is important, right? I started a cartoon series. It's called Hood Science. It's kind of like South Park. And I'm working on this project right now. It's called the Magic Cool Bus, right? We're trying to, you guys seen Black Panther? All right, so imagine Wakanda on wheels. That's what we're trying to build with the Magic Cool Bus, all right? So this is now what I've dedicated my life to for the foreseeable future. But this is me 10 years ago. That's my 10-year challenge, all right? That's me sitting in chemistry class. I hated chemistry. I thought chemistry was whack. I thought science was boring. I was like, man, if I would have came to a presentation like this and you were like, yeah, this guy's gonna talk about science, I'm like, man, that's about to be whack. I was a kid that was acting up in class. You see that? I was acting up so much in class. See, when I was at you guys' age, when I was in high school, my Twitter name was @WhatThatBootyDo. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. You can Google that. You can find that. I changed my Twitter name. But at the time, I was that silly, right? I didn't think school was that important. So you guys might be wondering, how did I fall in love with STEM? How did I make STEM cool? Right? How did STEM become so dope to me, so important to me? Well, in order to understand how I fell in love with STEM, you guys need more context. I'm from a city about 3 hours away called Chicago, Illinois. How many of you guys know about Chicago? All right, everybody should. You guys are not that far. So, everybody listen up, listen up. The part of Chicago that I'm from does not look like this, okay? I'm from the south side of Chicago. You guys heard of the rappers Chief Keef? Kanye West was originally from the south side. I don't know what he's doing now. Chance the Rapper, right? A positive role model. But where I'm from, I used to hear things every day. I remember when I was 8 years old, I used to see something on the radio. I used to hear something on the radio, see something on TV that said something like this. We have more black men in prison than we have graduating from college. I was 8 years old when I remember seeing this as an announcement on TV, right? And that was my reality. So I would look over to my mom as an 8-year-old kid, and I say, hey, Mom, am I going to jail? And she would laugh. She'd be like, no, Justin, no, there's no way you're going to jail. You're going to have a future. You're going to be successful, right? But as I became closer to that person you saw in the high school pictures, I was acting up in class. I was doing the things that I thought were cool outside of class, right? And I thought that was cool. And so I became closer and closer to becoming a statistic, becoming a black man in prison, having bad grades, all those kind of things, right? That all changed when something happened. When I was in high school, I was about, how old are you guys, like 14, 16, 17? 16, 17? Okay. When I was about 15 years old, I was walking a young lady home on the south side of Chicago. While I was walking a young lady home, a group of about 10 to 15 young boys approached me, about the same age as me. They said, hey man, you gave me the finger. Why'd you give me the finger? And I was like, what are you talking about? I didn't give you. And before I could finish my sentence, one of the guys sucker punched me in my right eye. I still have a scar from it to this day. Then they all proceeded to swarm in on me and jump me. There's about 15 of them. This is a typical story on the south side of Chicago, right? I almost lost my vision in my right eye. And I came to find out later that it was actually the people that I was affiliated with that didn't like those kids, right? And so that ended up being the source of why they attacked me, all right? That was my reality. So I remember I was sitting there in the hospital with my eye gushing, and I have pictures of it. I don't want to get too graphic today, but I was sitting there in the hospital with my eye gushing, and I was like, this is not what I want to be. I don't want to keep going down this path and being this person. I didn't really think about how I could get out of it, but I knew that I wasn't going to do it anymore. So I got my school life together. I refused to accept this narrative about who I was supposed to be, and I changed it for myself, right? I ended up getting my test scores up, my grades up, ended up getting a full scholarship to college, right? A full scholarship. Now, that wouldn't have been possible if it wasn't for STEM. I got scholarships from NASA. You guys know what NASA is, right? The National Science Foundation also. This is an organization that gives tons of money to people like you guys that might be interested in STEM. And NOAA, that's another organization. They're responsible for a lot of weather maps that you guys see, right? I got money. I got full scholarships. I profited off of college because I had an undergraduate degree in STEM, and they loved my story, and they followed my story, and they paid me to go to school, right? This is something that all of you guys can do. This is not an uncommon story. How many of you guys have heard about student loans? How many of you guys are afraid of being in debt when you get older and having to worry about? Trust me, you do not want student loans. You do not want student loans. If you can get around that, if you can find a way to get around that, then do that. STEM was the answer for me, and I think it can be the answer for a lot of you guys. So fast forward a little bit, I'm in the science labs, I'm doing the presentations, I'm a full-fledged nerd at this point. I'm a marine and environmental science major, right? But I felt a little out of place here. I didn't realize at the time, but I didn't really like research, not the traditional kind of research. That just wasn't my thing, right? But I'll tell you, I didn't fit in with a lot of the other STEM kids because I was a little bit too animated, too extroverted, right? I was too cool, right? But you got to realize something. STEM isn't just for the people that you think are nerdy or geeky. It's for everybody. It's for the people that are emotionally intelligent. It's for the people that are creative. It's for the people that like to dance. It's for the people that like basketball. STEM is for everybody, right? And I started to realize that I wasn't in place in this part of STEM. So that might look like a modeling picture, but that was me out in the open ocean, all right? I was getting paid to do this. I was getting paid at that point. Right there in that minute, I was getting paid. I was doing a dolphin survey of dolphins 40 miles out of the coast in Savannah, Georgia. How many of you guys know what light pollution is? Light pollution. Oh, okay, a lot of you guys. So in Indiana, you guys don't deal with it as much, but in Indianapolis, a little bit. So those of you that don't know, light pollution is the phenomenon that causes city lights to drown out the night sky, right? When I went out on the open ocean, 40 miles out for 2 days and 3 nights, I saw the night sky with no light pollution. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. And here I am, this dude from the south side of Chicago. None of my friends ever had those experiences. They still haven't had those experiences because I got into STEM. This is me at the White House, right? This is when I was an intern at the White House. I got to bowl at the White House. I got to, I came and had a close encounter with Barack Obama at the time. And this was all paid. The apartment I had was nice, man. Like I was living large that summer because of my internship in STEM. Now, some people do, how many of you guys have a job or plan to get a job soon? Okay, awesome. You guys are hustling. So I had a job when I was you guys' age in high school. I was a camp counselor. And a lot of my friends, when they go to college, they got jobs doing the same stuff they were doing in high school. Cashier, camp counselor, working at the library, those kind of things. I was probably making 3 times as much as they were because I was in STEM, right? And I was working on my career. So that's an option for you guys in the future. So I started to figure this thing out. I'm like, hold on, I really don't like lab research, but I love presenting in science. I'm trying to figure out a way to make this work for me. My professors didn't really encourage that, though. They told me to do research. And I think research is very important. The work that I do today wouldn't be possible without research. But for me, I didn't think it was my specialty. So it wasn't until I left school that I started to realize what I didn't know. And so this is the amazing thing about STEM. STEM teaches you how to learn. When you go through a STEM program, you come out, you get the confidence that it takes to learn how to do something. And you know that you can learn how to do anything. But what I didn't understand was the bigger picture of STEM. I knew marine and environmental science. I knew oceans. I knew laboratories. But I didn't know that STEM was this big thing with Silicon Valley and computer processors. And it was changing robotics all over the world, right? That's what I realized when I started to go out in Silicon Valley. I worked at a tech job all over the place, right? I was in Silicon Valley. I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. I was in DC. I learned about tech. But I wasn't really happy there because I wasn't presenting information. That was what I love to do. That's my thing. So this is what STEM allowed me to do. And this is what you guys can do. How many of you guys like PCs or building PCs? Any of you guys interested in that? Oh, okay, it's a couple of you. How many of you guys play Fortnite? Nobody? It's played out? Is Fortnite played out? All right, how many of you guys use Instagram? How many of you guys use other social media apps? Snapchat, Facebook, okay. So let me challenge you guys really quick. How many hours do you guys feel like you've been spending, let's say in a week, how many hours do you guys spend doing Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, that kind of stuff? Somebody, yeah, average, just raise your hand, yeah, average. 5, 6 hours, anybody else? 20 hours. Okay, all right. So let's just say we average between 5 to 15 hours a week consuming social media. Imagine if you spent 5 to 15 hours a week learning how to create social media platforms. Those guys are billionaires, right? Those guys are billionaires. So that's what I started to do. I started to teach myself how to create. I built a computer. I taught myself using YouTube University, right? And the reason I was confident in doing that is because I had a background in STEM. That gave me the confidence I needed to learn how to learn, right? And so from this computer, it transformed my life. I learned how to designed all kinds of video elements. I designed the cartoon series. I turned my house into a STEM paradise, right? And then that's when I was able to fascinate, and create all these cartoon characters and turn the whole cartoon series into Hood Science. And from there, once we moved to New York City, I was able to start a business where we help young people like you guys get excited about STEM. How many of you guys know what HoloLens is at Microsoft? Microsoft HoloLens. Okay, a couple of you guys. So we had kids here that had never heard of HoloLens, that had never been in a Microsoft store before. They were able to experience Surface Books and HoloLens and things like that because we were teaching them STEM. We were teaching them how to give back using STEM. And there was one kid that I came in touch with. He's about the age of college, right? And this young guy, his name was Amazia. When I tell you he's a brilliant guy, he was showing me a prototype for a hoverboard when I first met him. But he was homeless. This guy was homeless, and he was moving furniture to make a living with himself. Now, I have nothing against people that move furniture, but I think that doing stuff that he was doing with prototypes wasn't the best use of his brain, right? So Amazia came to me like, hey, man, I don't know what to do. I haven't figured out my life. I told him, you're going to be my tech coordinator. So when we do programs like these, he ended up running our tech stuff, and he empowered himself. He got a job. He was able to secure his future. How many of you guys know what MIT is? MIT? Cool. MIT is where it goes down in tech and robotics. He was able to pitch his idea in MIT. And later on, he was able to empower himself using STEM education. This is a kid that didn't have any opportunities in front of him and used STEM to figure out his life, right? So yeah, that's now why we're trying to build the Magic Cool Bus and empower young folks like you guys. So in a summary, here's why STEM is dope to me. You get the money, right? Not only do you get full rides from scholarships, not only do you get paid internships, but once you get into a job, you can make twice as much. I ended up making twice as much as the living wage for average adults. At 21 years old, I was in college. I just graduated from college, right? You can make money. Now, money's not everything, but for a lot of people, money is a solution to their problems, right? You can make money with STEM. You can go from a zero to a hero, right? STEM is what really transformed my life and allowed me to make an impact that I'm making today with young folks. And also, I think it's most important is that it allows you to empower other people. This is a tour of the Google office that we got to show kids. Have you guys ever been to the Google office or heard about the Google office? You heard about that movie Internship that came out. It was pretty cool. All right, so here's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to close your eyes. Everybody close their eyes. Everybody close their eyes. Nobody's too cool. Everybody close their eyes. Everybody close their eyes. All right, so I want you guys to think about 10 years from now. I want you guys to think about 10 years from now what you want to be, who you want yourself to become. Now, whether or not you want to be involved in STEM, STEM is going to be a part of it in some way. You need tech skills or something like that. What obstacles will that person overcome, and what things will that person accomplish? I want to give you guys some time to think about that in silence. Now, everyone open their eyes. That person you envisioned, I really believe that person you envisioned is going to be a superstar. But here's the thing. Whether or not you succeed, when you guys succeed, when you guys all succeed, you guys are going to be at a crossroads. You're going to be at a fork in the road. And you're going to be able to use the talents that you get, if you guys go into STEM, the superpowers that you get, to change the world for yourself and make more money, or you can do that and empower other people to solve their own problems. That choice is you guys. It's up to you guys. So ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mr. Fascinate, and to me, that is why STEM is dope. Thank you. So I think we got a little bit of extra time at the end, so I want to show you guys a couple things. I'll show you guys the video I made for the Magic Cool Bus. This was 2 years ago. Let's see. Would you guys mind pulling that up in the back? Okay. Yes, you have a question? It was an actual hoverboard. It was interesting. It was an interesting concept. So we'll do Q&A in a second. I want to show you guys this bus. Kids are more likely to do something when they see someone who looks like them doing it. But this whole principle falls to pieces when it comes to getting underrepresented students involved in STEM. Why aren't they interested in STEM? Because they don't find STEM exciting. They don't see how cool it is, and they don't see people that look like them further along the path.
That's where the Magic Cool Bus arrives. We've dreamed up a bus that at first glance looks like a party bus, with cool music, TVs, and a dope roof. Except one thing. It'll be filled with cutting-edge STEM gadgets like 3D printers, mini drones, and body fat percentage calculators. All run by a young staff, most of whom come from underrepresented groups and are STEM educated. Here's our plan. We want to take this bus to underperforming schools across the nation. Our first trip, down the East Coast and back. Our second, Midwest. Third, Southwest. In these first 3 trips, we plan to visit over 200 schools across the country, exciting thousands of underrepresented students about STEM. But we all know about the fleeting attention spans of kids these days. So to keep them excited, we'll refer them to our website, which releases microwave-friendly STEM content 4 times a week and has links to career opportunities in STEM. Here's how you can help. Click the link in this post to learn more and share with every parent and teacher you know. And let's get them in STEM.
All right, thank you guys. So this idea, you guys could probably tell, what do you guys think my budget was when I did this? $1,000. Yeah. What'd you say? 500, okay. Oh, thank you. Anyone else wanted to see this? Did everyone get a chance? So yeah, you're right, actually. If it wasn't obvious, I had a $0 budget when I made this thing, right? $2 and some change. So this was an idea, right? Hold on, guys. So this was an idea, and from this $0 budget, we've been able to raise $45,000 so far because that's the power of STEM education, right? And now we're trying to build this bus and travel to schools and meet folks like you guys with the bus. And so literally, yeah, it started with an idea. It started with 0, but I knew that I could do it. So I created the video myself. I taught myself video editing on YouTube. I designed every single graphic, including that bus right there. And that's all from YouTube. I learned all that stuff on YouTube. My background is in science, not in graphic design. But I knew how to do it because of STEM education. I'll show you guys a little bit more of this afterwards. So do you guys have any questions for me? Any folks? Yes. Yes?
So what is your purpose, like, to do this other than to show STEM is cool? Like,
You said, what is my purpose?
yeah, like, what's your end goal?
I'm sorry, I can't.
What is your end goal?
My end goal, good question. So right now, I'm a PhD student at Columbia, and I'm studying all of these kind of programs. And for me, my purpose is to make STEM as cool for people that are young as MTV makes music cool and as ESPN makes athletics and sports cool, right? Because I think about something like this, right? Is anyone here like interested in being a rapper or a basketball player, any of that kind of stuff? Okay, no judgment, no judgment, no judgment. You guys can do that. I'm not gonna put you down. You guys can absolutely do that. But here's the reality. Statistically speaking, and you guys should know this if you're doing it, a percent of the people that try for that actually persist long enough to do it, right? You have to go really hard to make that happen. But why do people want to do that? A lot of times they want to do it because they've seen it being so cool in front of them all their lives. Whereas STEM is kind of seen as this nerdy thing that's awkward and boring and it rocks and it's just not interesting, it's not engaging. So I want to create a platform, whether it's a TV, a streaming series, Netflix, that engages students the same way that MTV does so that those kids can persist and financially free themselves to get into STEM. Does that answer your question? Okay, you had what part of the question didn't I answer?
What did you say? What did you say?
Is there a part that I didn't address?
Like, other than the Magic School Bus, or the Magic Cool Bus, what
Yeah.
is you doing, like, to actually
What do I
make that
do?
happen? Yeah.
So the cartoon series Hood Science is another way to just make it approachable, right? The speaking stuff that I do also, the programs that we do, so we've worked with Microsoft, we've worked with Google, we've actually worked with MIT also, where we create programs for kids where they can interact with dope technology, whether that's Microsoft's HoloLens, whether that's 3D printers, whether that's like going into the Google office and seeing that working environment to make that a reality for people. But we provide all those kinds of experiences for people. Any other questions? Yes.
So from everything you've done in your career so far, what is probably your biggest accomplishment?
My biggest accomplishment. So I would say, I think that there's a lot of fluffy stuff, right? I've done like the TED Talks and the Columbia University stuff, and I've started my own business and raised money. Like a lot of people brag about that kind of stuff, right? I think what was more important to me than anything was the kid Amazia. When he came to me and he was homeless, I really didn't even appreciate how much I was able to help him. But giving him that job, he later at the end of we did a summer program. At the end of the program, he sat me down. He said, "Hey man, look, I need to talk to you." I was like, "Uh-oh, what's going on? Is it serious?" And so I sit down with him and he's like, "Man, you probably saved my life. Like I was in a situation where I might have died if it wasn't for you coming in." And I don't like to be like a hero or save people. I want to empower people to save themselves. But I didn't even realize that through the work that I had done, just kind of being myself and putting him in a position to feed himself using his brain, like that saved his life. That saved his confidence, his ability to have self-esteem. So I think stories like that experience for me was bigger than anything that surface level, bigger than any Columbia University PhD, bigger than any TED Talk, because I really want to solve the problem. And I think that's a testament to what it looks like to solve the problem. Yes?
So what were the biggest resources that helped you get to this point, and how did that make you reach out?
Great question. So what are the biggest resources that got me to this point, and how do I reach out? All right. So I got a couple answers for you. How many of you guys have heard of Scali? Scali. You guys heard of that? They were on Shark Tank, if you guys watch this TV show Shark Tank. So Scali is a scholarship app, and you might want to talk to your parents about this. I'm an ambassador for Scali. So for $3 a month, you can get a database of all the scholarships that you're eligible for. So let's say you put in all your demographics. So let's say I'm a 17-year-old African-American woman, and I'm left-handed, and I want to go into chemistry. You can put all that stuff into Scali, and it'll tell you all the hundreds of scholarships that are out there for you so that you can get fully funded. I wish I had that when I was a kid. I didn't have that, so I had to hustle, just search stuff on Google. Search scholarships science, scholarships environmental science, scholarships for left-handed people because I'm left-handed, right? So that's another big one. So in school, that's how I did that. I hustled after scholarships relentlessly. In entrepreneurship, it was a lot of the same stuff, but it wasn't as successful. Like, when I tell you guys, one time I presented this, and one of the kids, we presented it for some middle school kids, and he said, "So what have you done wrong?" And I was like, "I mess up all the time. That's how I got here." I literally reached out to any and everyone who would be willing to sit down with me and take a meeting, and there were hundreds of people that ignored my emails, hundreds of people that ignored, like they had a conversation with me, "Oh yeah, we'll talk, we'll sit down." Never happened, right? And now that I got the credentials, the Columbia University stuff, the TED stuff, now that stuff is becoming more and more, it's becoming easier for me to have meetings with people and sit down with them, but relentless hustle, man. It was finding any and everything with scraps, with a $0 budget, creating a video, right? Like just you being creative and resourceful, I think is the big picture thing that you guys can take away. If you want to do something and you don't have money, you guys have the internet. You guys can search people down, hunt them down, and try until you get it to work. And that's how that's the only way I've been able to do this, man, is repeated failure until success. I saw a question right here. Was it you? Challenges I had to face to get to where I'm at, man, countless. I'm trying to think of a good one to talk about. The get and jump was a big one in high school. So here's one about leadership. So when I was in college, I was freshman president. I was president of the freshman class. And so I threw a pool party at the end of the year. It was lit. It was called Slippery When Wet. It's a terrible name. So the pool party was so fun. But what happened was I left the pool party an hour early because I'm like, I got this in the bag, man. I figured this out. Like, I'm good. So I left the party, and it wasn't my job to supervise the kids in the pool. What happened was one of my close friends, David, one of my like 2 or 3 friends in college, he drowned in that pool party. And so they thought they were going to resuscitate him. He passed away. So I lost one of my best friends as a freshman in college at a party that I threw. And I felt like I was partially responsible for it, right? And at the time, you know, like my class was really going through it emotionally. They were struggling with a lot of stuff. And I was personally going through it, but I had to, and this was probably not the healthiest thing to do at the time, but I had to put my feelings on the back burner and just focus on getting stuff done, being there for my class, being there to support people, being there to lead the other students and keep us going strong to the end of the year, right? As a class president in college, you have a lot of responsibility. And, you know, for me, I think that's what gave me the confidence that I could just do anything. Because I'm like, dude, this was hard, man. I was emotional, like, going through that was real for me, you know? And I was like, if I can get through this, I can get through anything. So what I'd say, though, is like, I don't know if you guys, I remember when I was in high school, single parent home, right, south side of Chicago, I grew up feeling like a disadvantaged kid. Like, I just didn't have access to everything that other kids did. And I struggled with a lot. But I didn't realize at the time that that disadvantage was actually a power, a superpower. Because now I know when I'm put in a situation and I'm the underdog, when I'm put in a situation to have a $0 video budget, I'm gonna make something out of nothing. I'm gonna eat ramen noodles. I'm gonna do what it takes to make it work. You know what I mean? And so, you know, for me, like having all those obstacles at the end of the day made my mind stronger, made me think I was more capable, and gave me the confidence I needed to attack ambitious projects like building a bus and traveling all over the world with it. So I think that's everything that you need. You need struggle. You need that. Any other questions you guys have? Yes. How do you recommend changing someone's work ethic? So it depends on what you want. So if you want to change your work ethic, if you want to work harder, if you feel like there's something I want to do, I want to get better grades, or maybe I want to put out this mixtape and I wanted to do numbers, so much of that stuff depends on working really, really, really hard and being focused for a long time, and that's not easy. And I would say this, for me, I can only speak from my own experience, and I don't think this can work for everybody, but for me, I'm 0 or 100 type of person. So a lot of us, we half-step going into working for something. I want to make this video, but I can wait a couple months on it. I'll do it tomorrow. For me, I had to quit my job and not get a salary every 2 weeks. So I'm like, oh my God, I have to figure out how to make money now or this isn't going to work. And so I went all in. I said, I'm going to dedicate my life to this for the foreseeable future. And because there is no turning back, I burned the bridges behind me. Not that I burned my relationships and work, but like I quit my job already. You know, I can't go back this way. So I have to go forward. And so other people work different ways, but the only way that I've been able to master my work ethic is to literally go all in. And you have to make sacrifices to do that. You have to figure out what it is that you need to let go of that's holding you back. For me, unfortunately, it was a salary. It was making money. Like if I could not make progress on this every 2 weeks, and it'll be okay because I'm still getting money. But once the money goes away, now I have to figure this out, right? I have no choice. And so, to me, it's like if you really want to do something, you have to relentlessly eliminate all those things that are in your way. Does that make sense? So it's 0 or 100. It's 0 or 100 for me. Yes, I saw some other questions too. Yes. My biggest inspiration, man, there's so many of them. I would say it's young people like you guys, though. A combination of my mother and young people like you guys. Because, I've worked with I've spoken at a lot of places, I've worked in a lot of schools, and so many people tell me that it's impossible to engage people you guys' age with this kind of stuff. Like they say you just can't do it. It can't be done. You gotta wait till they get a little bit older, when they're in college, so they can actually appreciate it, right? But seeing people come up to me with questions about how to make this stuff work and how to do their own STEM thing, how to start their own business, like that tells me that what I'm doing works. You know what I mean? That what I'm doing makes sense and that it's possible. So, for me right now to keep going, you guys asking me questions is inspiring, The other thing is, like I said, my mom, she just was a hard worker. That was the example I had. She did whatever she had to do to keep food on the table and to keep me not needing anything. I didn't get everything I wanted. I didn't have the J's. I didn't have the nice shoes. But I got what I needed. And she's the person that showed me what work ethic really looks like. Anyone else? Yes. No, absolutely not. So when I was in high school, like I said, we were like, here's something I used to do when I was in high school, just to kind of paint a picture for you guys. So I wasn't a dumb kid, but I wasn't like a good kid, right? Like I didn't pay attention in class and stuff. So actually this is a middle school thing, but I still acted like this in high school. So it was an English class. The teacher had wrote something incorrectly on the board, so I corrected her, and she went back to correct it, and I took a piece of chalk, and I threw it at her, and it went on the back of her black sweater. Yeah, and all the kids started laughing. Yeah, it was terrible. And so I sat there like super cool, and I was like, and she's like, oh my God. She like flipped out completely. And I just sat there like, thinking I was cool. And so I was that kind of kid in high school, and I was like, success isn't for me. I'm not the type of kid that become successful. And so it took a lot of unlearning for me to get there, because I felt like I had the single parent, all these other kids had two parents, and I didn't have all these resources. Like, there's no way I can actually do what they can do. So it just took a lot of unlearning. But yeah, absolutely not. So if you guys don't feel like you can succeed right now, just expose yourself to more. Just keep seeing new stuff. Keep seeing different stuff. Because that's really what changed for me. When I left Chicago, that's when I started to understand I can actually do bigger things. I'm capable of more than I've been telling myself. So I saw a couple more hands. A couple more. Well, I want to give someone else a chance. Did I see a couple more hands? Yes.
What do you think is like the best way to battle procrastination?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can you speak up a little bit?
What do you think is like the best way to battle procrastination?
To battle procrastination. I struggle with that sometimes too. I think procrastination means you're not busy enough. For me, like I said, I'm 0 on 100, so I have to put so many things on my plate that it's like, oh, I have to do this now or I won't be able to do it later. So if you're procrastinating, that means you're not being challenged. So for me, I found that being more ambitious, going for a bigger goal, forces me to not be able to procrastinate, because I have to do this right now to achieve this goal, this big ambitious goal that I want to. But I procrastinated a lot when I was you guys' age, definitely. I did all my homework last minute, 100% of it. But somebody said, what is homework? So I did everything last minute, but it was because at the time I wasn't thinking big enough. I wasn't thinking, okay, maybe school is not challenging me the way I want to be challenged. Let me start a business right now. I'm in high school, let me just do it right now. Like if I would have thought to do that, my grades probably would have gotten that much higher, because I would have known, okay, I can't procrastinate anymore. So put more stuff on your plate. If you're procrastinating, that means you're not challenged. Anything else? I saw a couple more hands, or no? Is that it? You had a question too, or? So I said success a lot, and success is different for everyone, right? Success to me, that's a big question. Success to me, for me right now, in the foreseeable future, success to me is solving this problem of diversity in STEM. Personally, I don't really care about the degrees or the TED Talks or raising all this money, and all that stuff is cool. I want to actually solve the problem. So, I don't need to make a lot of money right now. I don't need to be doing, like all these other things that other people are chasing after, like having a nice house, those are great things for other people. For me, I want to solve this problem. So I made the sacrifices. When I quit my job, it was my savings that I've been saving up to maybe get a nicer car or a house or something. I sacrificed that because this is what I want to do. And so all of you guys have to define that for yourselves. I suggest that you don't just follow what everyone else tells you success is, a nice house, 2 cars, a family, 2 kids. For some people, that is success, and that's great. But I suggest that you define it for yourself, because you'll be that much more motivated, and you have that much more clarity about what you need to sacrifice. Is that it? Is there any other questions? I want to make sure I get everything out. You guys can always walk up to me afterwards, too. I'm approachable. I also have business cards. If you guys want to chat one-on-one, email. All right, well, thank you guys so much. Okay.